Hello and welcome to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast, the show where compassion meets prosperity. I'm Paul Timbane alongside Joan, my wife here. We're honored to be your host today. Together we built an agency from I think it was a little over $12,000 credit card loan at that time. Some folks call it a gamble. That's what they called it at that time. Hey, it wasn't at the, listen, 23 years ago, it was a gamble. I tell you, and we built it to an 8-figure home care agency serving thousands of clients over the years, and of course employing hundreds, maybe thousands of employees along the way. And now we're here to share some lessons, strategies, and mindset shifts that help us get there, so that you, the audience, can do the same.
We launched this podcast because the home care industry is often misunderstood. Many times people don't see the sacrifices, the hard work, the emotion that goes into owning and running a home care agency, and especially the sacrifices that the caregivers make also to impact lives, to make a difference in the lives that we care for. And to be honest with you, we looked around and realized there were not many podcasts out there on home care, just shining the light on what the owners and their team members do to make a difference, not just in the seniors' lives, but in the community as a whole. So we just felt called to start a podcast. And that's how we started the Home Care Millionaire Podcast.
This podcast is designed for the purpose-driven provider. For those of you who feel called to care, but also want to build a thriving and sustainable business. Each week we'll share stories, proven strategies, and powerful mindset shifts that will help you move from just surviving to thriving.
In fact, our tagline says it best. Compassion is your calling, but wealth is your reward. I guess you'll be thinking, okay, that's where millionaire comes in. Yeah, and we believe the Home Care Millionaire Podcast will show you that it's not just putting your heart and your soul into it and your life into it. You get rewarded also. So here at the Home Care Millionaire Podcast, we're going to show you how to embrace both.
So get ready for inspiration, practical insights, and the encouragement you need to build wealth, impact lives, and create through your agency. So hit subscribe and join us on this journey to transform your business, your mindset, and your future. Welcome, folks, to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. John and I are honored. We're so happy to welcome friends and fellow home care agency owners, LeRoy and Kathy Nelson, to the podcast today. These are folks we've known over the years, and they serve with heart. They serve with humility. When you talk about servant leaders, I think these folks are servant leaders. I could tell from the last time we had a conference and the way their team presented, you could tell that these folks, they know what they're doing, and they truly have a team that supports them. So we're so grateful that they could find time out of their very busy schedule to meet with us today. And so we're so excited to have them on. So you want to?
All right. So Kathy and LeRoy, we're excited to hear your story.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
We're going to share with our audience today. So welcome to the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. All right.
Thank you.
Let me get started with this first question. What were you doing before you started your home care agency? And what specifically motivated you into the industry?
So I was in supply chain. I worked for several different industries, running supply chains all over the world. And I did that for many, many years. And one of the things that I got to realize is it's not very fulfilling. You're not giving back anywhere. And so I was between jobs, and Kathy came home from one of her business trips and showed me a catalog ad in a Southwest magazine that was for in-home care. And she goes, you ought to try doing this. So I started exploring it and talked to several different agencies and went with an agency that really their heart was in the community. The heart wanted the reason to be in business was to impact the community and care for the elderly, let alone the money you can make. It was about helping the elderly, making sure that their families had respite. And that really called to me. It was something that I could do to kind of give back after what what I had received for so long. So that was really what I was doing before, and kind of the inspiration to get into the business, honestly.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Supply chain. Wow.
So
So many different industries, right?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when you go and you apply for a franchise, they ask you kind of what makes you qualified to run one. So, being in supply chain, I had some human resources background as well, and had dealt with customers and kind of the dynamics there. So, felt fortunate enough that I actually got approved. So that was a big deal. But really, it was driven by wanting to give back to the community, where the career that I was in really was not doing that, obviously.
Awesome. It's interesting because it looks like you got in, and then Kathy kind of led you in on that, and then you got in, and then I guess she joined you. How did that work?
Right. So we bought the business back in 2016, and I bought it with another partner. Okay. And we bought it in, I think it was like May of 2016. Well, by the end of the year, she decided she didn't want to do it, because you soon find out in this business that it's not really a hobby. This is a serious business. It has real challenges, real dynamics, and it's hard. So she decided she didn't want to be in that anymore. We had put together a partnership agreement where the partner that was staying would still own 51% of the business. Okay. And the leading partner could sell 49%. Well, most people aren't going to buy 49% of any business for obvious reasons, right? Yes. So then
it just made sense. So I was not really thinking that this was going to be my long-term career. I had a long-term career in IT distribution and telecom. And I had been an executive in sales and marketing for a significant amount of time. So I really never imagined leaving that. But there we were, and it wasn't that fulfilling as far as like the give back part, like he's talking about. It didn't feel like I wasn't changing anyone's life, but I was making really great money, and my life was really good. Yes. Right. So then when we were faced with this, I was like, well, same thing about the gamble part. Like he took out his 401k to buy the first franchise, and
some of my mom's inheritance actually
went towards it.
Wow.
And then for both of us to be in this with no benefits, scary. Was very scary. But it felt like we were this far along, and we had to at least see if we could do it. And he was like, well, he's got the back of the house experience, and I have the sales and marketing experience. Makes sense.
Yes. Wow.
So we did. And wow, it has been a wild ride.
So she joined in July of 2017, bought the other part of the business. And so then it was all ours. And I'll never forget, I think we were like at 200 hours or something like that.
160.
Wow. And as soon as she came in, like one 24/7 client quit, so we're like, we dropped to like under 100 hours, like overnight, and neither of us are working elsewhere. Right. So it was a big leap of faith.
It was a big leap of faith.
Wow.
Definitely. Yeah.
Wow. But what I knew was that Kathy had always had great success with sales and customer relations, and I knew that if she came to the business that she would drive that part. And that's never been my forte. Obviously, I do all the contracts and all of the logistics when I was in supply chain. So all of the stuff in the back of the house really fit well with my skill set, and having her in the sales world just worked out really great.
Wow.
Yeah, we can definitely say that now.
Yeah, I bet it was interesting, Kathy and LeRoy, because so the sort of same thing happened with us too, in the sense that I was not when this Joan, I believe God gave Joan inspiration for this. Okay, because we're in IT back then, and doing pretty well. And whatever pretty well means, right? It's all relative, isn't it? And so, so when Joan saw this, but we had this drive. We wanted to do our own thing. We were, being immigrants, we kind of wanted to kind of control our own thing, sort of.
Yeah, for sure.
It was kind of in us. And so when Joan saw this, Joan said, well, this might work. I said, well, okay, if you think so, well, investigate some more. She looked at a bunch of different franchisors and came back with where we are today. I said, okay. And we had no money. I mean, we're having a pretty good job as no money. You know how that goes. So we said, well, let's just give it a shot. And I used to be a systems engineer and all of that. And I said, well, let's just give it a shot. That was my thing, you know. End of the year, we started, I think, in February of 2021, right?
2002.
2002. We bought our first office. Now, it took a while to get a client, you know, and all of that. We started from scratch. And so end of the year, I saw the numbers. I said, wait a minute, Joan, you told me this could do this? He goes, well, I told you so. Well, off to the races. I did not believe it. I did not believe in this. You know, it was after that first 7 months that it kind of, you know, it clicked for me. So yeah, it is a process, no question.
Yeah.
Wow. Please go ahead. Go ahead with your story.
Yeah. And I don't think, you know, you're ready. Initially, you're not ready for this world of caring for people is all human. It's all human.
Yes.
It's not. Yes. So there's none of the things you counted on in your old career, even the way people will treat you. All of those things go away, right? And you really start dealing with things you never imagined you would. But what you find is that you find a way because you're human too. And you have to find a way. So it has changed me as a human being for sure. I'm a much better human being.
Wow. That is great.
What an interesting journey. You know.
Yeah.
But your story, your situation is pretty much like Paul and I. So I'm the back office type person. He's like more into the marketing.
You know, I want to be out there. But you know, I gotta say this though, LeRoy and Kathy, you guys talk about faith to quit your jobs and be in this full time. Yeah. I mean, with us, I lost my job in the process, but then I said, well, I'm not gonna get a second job. I'm gonna do this. You know, that's when I said, let me look at the numbers and all of that. But Joan was still working. You know, so we were able to feed the family based on her income. But you guys too, I mean, boy, can you talk to us more? I mean, getting into this thing, leaving your job, Kathy, high-paying job, you've been doing it for years, an executive of that, to get in this. I mean, that must have taken a lot of faith and nerve and all of that, didn't it?
Well, I mean, it did. And I will tell you, there have been times, it's been a long journey now, about 10 years. And there has been times where LeRoy's gone back to work, or we've found, for a time when we were like, oh, we need benefits right now. Let me carry it for a while, and back and forth. We did that. You learn to do what you have to do to survive. Because we had 4 kids, so we couldn't. You know, we did what we had to do. But I will tell you, there were times when we were like, okay, let's sell it. This is killing us, and we're not. You know, we know that we can go back out into the world and make a lot of money. And every time we would go, and we'd always go to our favorite place that made us feel like special and abundant. And we would talk about, okay, what's really important? What's the most important thing? And every single time, we did that probably 4 times. Every single time we were like, it's staying in this. It's this being an entrepreneur does allow you some freedom, right? To be there at your kids' games and at parent nights instead of on a plane. And so we kept looking at those benefits, which were not monetary benefits, but relationship benefits. And we chose those every time. And it really did work.
And that's a hard thing to do when you're sitting there paying the bills, right? And you're trying to figure out how to make this work. But every time it was about what the priorities are, what we really want to get to in our lives and the quality of life that we want to have. And it's a lot of work to get there, but I think Kathy would agree. We'll take this over the corporate world any day of the week, you know? So,
there you go. There you go. Way to go. Way to go. Proud of you. It was interesting. I just want to add to that. We had sort of similar in the sense that and I'm sure you guys have been through this. There have been times when we starting out where we would write checks, right? Pay everyone else, couldn't cash our own checks.
Right.
For sure.
Would deposit Joe's check, right? And then have to hold mine back. There wasn't enough money in the bank.
Yeah, for sure.
But we felt there was something though. There was something that we just felt like it would work.
Yeah.
You know, right. We just felt, I mean, I'm sure you guys have been there. You want to speak to that? I mean, you know, we just felt it would work. Did right things.
Agreed. Yeah.
And our mantra whenever we lose hours is that the hours will always come back, and they'll come back bigger than where they were before. And that's indeed how it for us, you know. So it's been good for sure.
Good deal. Good deal.
Wow. So you've really shared some of the struggles, the challenges, financial, emotional, and all
Yes,
of that.
yes.
So you face your set of challenges, and I believe you still face those challenges. We all do, right?
Right.
Could you share with the audience what were some major challenges or obstacles that you faced and how you overcame them?
Oh, definitely. I would say, well, we're in California, so
Yes.
that I would say it's probably the worst state in the union, besides New York, maybe, to do business, because it's just the legal system is kind of not built to support you.
Oh,
So we definitely had a couple of scenarios where it wasn't fair at all. We were like sued for what was not anything. We had not done anything wrong. Our attorney was like, "You've not done anything wrong here."
yes.
And so accepting that is the state of business when you own a business, that people can come to hurt you even though you've done nothing wrong, was probably the hardest. That for me, I lost sleep over that for a long time. And we always went back to Visiting Angels and made sure we got with experts. What should we
Yes.
do? Who should we talk
Yes.
to?
Yes.
And we believed them, and we took the advice, and we got the very best, lawyers that we needed to. And it cost some money, but we learned a lot
Yeah.
about. And
Yeah.
every time we made something like this happened, we found out how to avoid it in the future, like how to
Yeah.
take care of ourselves better. And I would say, failing fast or whatever, learning where your blind spot is that you don't know, and resolving it quickly and getting professionals involved, that would probably be the best advice I could give around that. And not hiring caregivers that, if you have a doubt about a caregiver or a client, because we've had clients steal from us thousands of dollars, and you're like, how could they do that? We took care of her mother.
Yeah, I know exactly.
How could she feel okay about that? But there just are people in the world that will do that. But I always, and every time we got, had a bad situation, I had a gut feeling about the client or the caregiver. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure, but we really need this right now. So now I know every time I have that conversation with myself, I don't need it. And
There you go.
That's a powerful lesson right
There
there.
you go. That gut check.
Yeah,
Gut check,
and that's what we share with some new, folks coming into the industry. Make sure you get that foundation right, that legal advice, the best that you can afford. Make sure you get it, because it's amazing. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's terrible when people just want to throw you under the bus. We had a situation where this lady clearly acknowledged that she owed us thousands, right? So our bookkeeper worked the payment plan with her. She was fine. Everything's documented. She just woke up one fine morning and said, you know what? I'm not paying this. Sue me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She said her mortgage is more important.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but Kathy and LeRoy, see, I think what Kathy said speaks to the power of community.
Yeah, for sure.
The part of the franchisor, in this case, Visiting Angels. I mean, the fact that you could go back in time of need and guidance and get that quality help. I mean, doesn't that, I mean, to me, that's what this is all about. It's about having the right community that we can lean on each other. I mean, and hey, this happened to me. Has this ever happened to you? What would you do? Or what did you do?
Exactly.
Right.
That's a big deal, isn't it?
And I would say early on, we leaned on that a lot. I remember going to our first conference, we were like, I don't know, maybe a quarter or 20% of where we are now. And we're sitting around a table just gleaning as much information as we can.
I think they were at that table. I remember listening to them. I didn't want to leave the table. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
Just stay as long as they'll stay.
Yes. I don't blame you.
Extremely helpful to get information. There was a gal in one of our neighboring franchise territories, and she was so helpful, said, call me whenever you want. And just, I mean, it's really, really great.
Yeah,
it was really, really important for sure.
It's amazing because we've had friends tell us, well, why do you keep paying that royalty fee? I mean, you've been around, seriously, you've been around so long, you know the ropes. Why don't you do your own thing? I said, buddy, let me tell you something. We don't believe in biting the hand that's feeding us.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
And like you guys said, we got to remember that we're doing this for a bigger reason.
Right, for sure.
Like Kathy said, we can get better. We can get jobs someplace else making more money. But the fulfillment, though, I think is the key part, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt.
It really is the key.
Doubt,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because you make a difference. You make a difference in people's lives. You impact lives. I mean, think about the folks you guys are hiring in these conditions.
In fact,
we see caregivers do things that I am so grateful for, that I was like, I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
Like that I got to be part of bringing that level of person of love to this family, which made the whole difference in that time. You can't get that just in any job. You don't.
Well, and you talk about challenges. The rewards are the same on the other side. When you have a family member come to you and say, you basically gave my life back.
Yes.
Your caregiver has become part of our family. That to me is the most rewarding, where you're helping somebody that in real time. It's not like you see it in the future. You don't see it 2 weeks later. You see it right then when they're the most impact on their lives. And those are really treasured comments and relationships and feedback we get.
Awesome.
It's really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, talking about caregivers, we know California is a different beast, right? How are you coping with all of course, the caregiver shortage of all the regulations? I was reading something, I believe it was on Porcellini or Littler, about a new regulation on the family paid leave or something that's coming in California. But how are you coping with the shortage in caregivers in California?
Yeah, we come up with some really interesting ways that's a gamble to, first of all, keep the ones that we have, right? So we give back 3% of their salary in a 401k. They don't have to save anything.
Wow.
So there's a few other things that we do that I hope it seems to be paying off, that people see, you know what, we're here for them. They know they're the most important thing to us. We talk about it. I take their calls anytime, and I am on there. They know this is a family and they're part of it.
There you go.
And then honestly, we never let our foot off the gas when it comes to recruiting. Never. There's recruiting calls happening every day. There's interviews happening every day. And even if we don't need a caregiver today, we know we're going to need one tomorrow. So we are always recruiting and always training, always trying to give them more skills. And where else can we give something more to a caregiver? That's kind of been our philosophy.
Wow. And it's a bit of a challenge too, because there's different requirements, whether you're in a facility or in a hospital, that have minimum wage for the caregivers, and those wages are higher than what we pay. So we really have to get to the point where we find caregivers that really have a heart for the business, right?
Yes.
Really have a heart for the elderly, and they want to do. If the caregiver has done in-home and in a facility, 95% of the time they'll choose in-home, because you don't have 18 or 5 or however many clients that they're taking care of. So we feel that's a big selling point. We also offer benefits to all of our employees. It's pretty reasonable, actually, more than what you can get on the marketplace. So
there you go.
And I think one of the big challenges for caregivers is that there's so many regulations in California for minimum wage, depending on even the municipality that you're in, to try to keep on all of that. I mean, West Hollywood has a minimum, Santa Monica does, City of LA does, Beverly Hills do. It's all different than California.
Okay.
So there's a lot of challenges there to try to move on.
Yeah. So I think because of that, it's costly. It's really expensive. So then I would say we're looking at the efficiency of our organization every month.
Yeah.
Like what did we do last month, and what doesn't make sense that we're doing, and we're nimble enough that we can decide, you know what, that is not working. We need to get rid of that and do something different and do it fast. That's really the only way. And it's scary sometimes.
I bet. So you're keeping your paws on the your hands on the paws of the business, which is critical. I mean, you can't run an operation like you guys do without really staying on top of it. You gotta, and you guys have a great team, by the way. So I think the team, one of the things we haven't talked about here, and we're going to close with this, I guess, unless you have another question for LeRoy and Kathy, is the team. I mean, having a team, a cohesive team that just loves on your people, because we saw it. We saw you guys on stage at the conference, just loving your people. And, I think that's a big part of it. Isn't it a big part of your success, isn't it?
It really is. I think, we've been blessed. God has blessed us with people. Like what's so funny is that the people who have stayed and landed in my office are not people that had an amazing interview, right? That had a resume that would have blown your socks off. They weren't that. But something told me, no matter how the interview went, this person needs to be with us.
Wow.
It's paid off in spades. Like we have people that know what they're doing. They go and get the information they need to be great, and they're driven by their heart, just like we are. And I think if you can get that piece, the rest you can figure out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I agree. 100%.
Absolutely.
But it comes from the top. It comes from leaders. You guys are servant leaders. You know, you lead with your heart too. I mean, and it kind of, John and I always tell the team that it's about energy. If someone doesn't feel right to me, if there's something, because usually you can kind of pick it up, and I'm kind of like, I call myself an expert for that. Yeah, I'm an expert. So that's my expertise, LeRoy, Kathy. Yeah. If I don't feel it, really, I'm like, no, I'm not going there, because I rather not had the wrong person than have to go through trying to find this person. I mean, we had this one lady we hired for marketing, and she came on, not knowing that she was looking for another job. We were just a stepping stone, if you will. Yeah. And then a week into 2 weeks into the job, or a week into the job,
about
2 weeks, she goes, well, I'm quitting. So wait a minute. She turned in her resignation letter. She's asking for 2 weeks, right? You gotta give 2 weeks notice, right? And I said, well, why are you leaving? Well, I found a better job. They offering me $15,000 more. I said, well, we're not gonna be able to match that. I mean, you just started. We don't know your worth, She said, well, I said, and then so we talked to the director of operations. She go, why don't we just let her go? Is what she suggested. I said, well, yeah, because it doesn't make sense. She just started. She's gonna be leaving in 2 weeks. Why keep her on for 2 more weeks and pay her, right? So I met, exactly. I said, well, Paul, I gave my 2 weeks notice, and so I think we should keep it for 2 weeks. So I said, well, you know what? We're gonna just pay you for 2 weeks. You can stay home. Because if they're not the right fit,
that's brilliant to do. Yeah, you have to do that. Or if they bring something, we brought someone that she had a lot of skill, but what she brought to our organization was like a cancer. Like it was this undermining doubt about who I am to the team, right? And it took a while before I could actually see it, because she was really, really experienced with the piece I really needed. And so I was like, she can't be doing that. But honestly, the minute we got her out of our organization, things turned around.
There you go.
Anytime someone doesn't really have the right intention and you see it, now I know, like now we get it fast. We see it within a week.
Yes.
We made a mistake here. It's okay that we made a mistake. Let's move on and get it out of our organization, because the damage it's going to do is so not worth whatever.
Yeah.
But it goes back to the point you made earlier, Kathy and LeRoy. I think Kathy made this point about failing fast, right? Yeah. If you're growing and do what we're doing, right, it's gonna happen. You're gonna have some wrong people sometimes. But I think the biggest thing as a leader is to step up, and then say, hey, you know what? We made a bad hire this time. We gotta let them go. Because they become a cancer. They become a cancer in your organization, and they can take everything down. We've had it happen. In fact, years ago, and I'm just gonna, years ago, we had this one employee. We didn't know she was doing the same thing you talked about it here, creating her own little team. And she quit and took 5-6 people with her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had a team of like 13, 15 people, and she takes about 7 people with her.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but the thing though, Kathy, which was good, was the fact that we knew what was involved in work. We had a hand on the pulse of the business, working in our business as well as working on our business. So we knew what to do. We could take the calls. We knew what to do. We had a good, relationship with the rest of the team that we could then sit back and say, guys, this is what happened. We face the facts, and then we just kind of
And then after that, many of them came back. They were like, okay, sorry.
But you know what, Kat, LeRoy, you know what was good about this though? Our business grew even more after that.
Yeah, right.
Learn some lessons just like you guys did, and we put it into effect, right? I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Good deal.
That's good.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I think we don't want to hold you up anymore. I mean, you've been so gracious to come on. We just want to thank you so much, Kathy and LeRoy, for coming on and sharing your story, the nuggets you've shared with us, the wisdom. Joe and I have learned quite a bit here too. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We are
really
honored
appreciate
to have been
it.
a part of it. Thank
Very
you so
much.
much
Thank
for
you.
including us. Absolutely.
Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Home Care Millionaire Podcast. We hope you found inspiration, encouragement, and practical tools you can apply right away in your own journey. Our mission is simple, folks, to shine a light on the incredible impact that home care owners and their caregivers make every single day, and to give you the mindset, strategies, and faith-filled wisdom to build both purpose and prosperity.
Because here is what we believe. Compassion is your calling, wealth is your reward. If this episode spoke to you, we'd love for you to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you like more resources or have questions for Paul and I, just head over to askjoanandpaul.com. We'll be honored to connect with you there.
Until next time, folks, remember, you have what it takes to build wealth, create freedom, and leave a legacy through your agency. We're here cheering you on every step of the way. Bye for now.